Hello, everybody. This is John Wynn
And Bill
and Bill Ate, and this is the Doomer Bloomer podcast, and this is our ninth episode. Am I correct, or 10th?
We're our ninth episode today.
All right, excellent. So we got a few diverse topics here. We're going to be talking about. Bill, why don't you do a little expose on them, and we can get going.
All right. Today on the podcast, we're going to be talking about Baby Yoda and the Mandalorian and how that meme has broke the internet lately. We're going to talk about the 550 nurses they want to lay off in Alberta in the next
750. Yeah.
Oh, what did I say? Yeah, 750. Pardon me.
Yeah.
In Alberta, under the new PC government. We're going to be talking about France and the climate action riots that are going on right now and how that country has basically been shut down over climate change issues.
Yeah.
And we're going to be talking about how power corrupts, and does power corrupt? Absolutely. So people in power, well, it inevitably lead to corruption. And far left topic here, or just outfield topic, is China is creating a pig monkey hybrid in order to do organs.
So it's research. Yeah, so it's research done on how we can create animals to grow human organs. So they actually have created already a pig monkey hybrid, and there's even rumors now that and there's been some for a while. I know Alex Jones has been talking about this for a few years now, but there might even be some chimp human hybrids at this point now. If the rumors are true, who knows? But yeah, we'll have a bit of fun with that. So, what would you want to start off? What topic do you want to start off with, Bill?
Why don't we talk about the 750 nurses in Alberta?
Yeah, sounds good. So, as you know, my girlfriend, she's a nurse here in Alberta, and for almost within a month after the PC government, which is basically the Conservative Party in Alberta, got elected, they've been so just a few months back. They were proposing some up to 5% pay decrease for nurses, and she told me about a month and a half ago that they were looking at layoffs and all that also. And the confirmation was fairly recently that they will actually lay off 750 nurses, and they'll be doing it gradually within the next 2 years, which is pretty crazy. Like I said, my girlfriend, she's done multiple. She's done multiple nursing gigs, be it in hospitals, to ICU, to home care, to old age homes and all that. And she has a pretty good overview of how the state of the healthcare system already in Alberta, and a lot of these places are understaffed already. So, dropping 750 nurses when already there's a shortage is pretty crazy, I find.
Well, it's kind of short-sighted when you realize the majority of the Canadian population are aging baby boomers, and they're going to need that care into their old age and end of life. and also the people that do this work. This is specialized work. It's well paid work for the most part, but it's a lot of schooling goes into learning how to be a nurse or a health aide, and if you want to encourage people to go into these professions or these careers, maybe you should be compensating them for their time and their energy put towards it. Otherwise, why would anyone want to go into any profession? If there's
Definitely.
if there's no ROI or return on investment, and it's just for some short term budgetary concerns in Alberta. But if you look, longer term, 5, 10, 20 years down the road, you're going to want to be training these people and having that labor supply or these specialized professions able to do the work. I don't know. Like I said, since this past spring when they were elected, they've kind of dismantled a lot of the social nets that were in Alberta.
I totally agree. The thing is, far from me being a far left socialist, we already have a society that relies on social nets, if you will, like free healthcare and all that have been in place for years. So there's no infrastructure for any other option at this point. So, I mean, we have a demand that's on the rise more and more, and you want to cut into one of the most fundamental services there is, which is healthcare, which I find is a bit is pretty dumb in my opinion. I mean, I'm no politician. I'm not that much into politics, but I've been all over Canada, and the healthcare system is pretty shitty in a lot of ways. I mean, I've been to the hospital for some fairly minor things. Just give me a second here. I'm going to turn this off.
Yeah, man. Rastaman.
Yeah.
So you've been to the hospitals for some minor things, but there's still long wait times, and you're not.
Well, I was talking to these people a few years back, and this is someone that had a history of heart attacks and all that, and he had been waiting there for some heart-related stuff for over 23 hours, and this is in Quebec, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, just to give you an example, I know in BC, wait times are insane. I had a buddy of mine. I actually took him to the hospital. Man, I don't know what we basically waited. We left at late afternoon, and we got out the next day at around noon the next day type of thing. And he had like this very acute pancreatic attack or whatnot, like extreme pain, vomiting blood and all that. Like it was a pretty no one knew what it was at that time, but it seemed like a fairly urgent. It was an urgent situation. If not, I wouldn't have stayed overnight like that with my buddy. So
yeah. And then they want to encourage people to do these professions, and then they're literally laying people off. From I think a nurse is a pretty good career, like a solid career choice in my opinion.
Yeah.
Whether you're male or female or other gender, it's kind of disheartening, actually, to tell you the honest truth. Because people, like I said, people rely on that service, and yeah, like I said, it's kind of a between, like, Alberta's is semi-private with public healthcare, correct?
I'm not even sure. I
Okay.
mean, there's some private, like in any province, there's certain things that could be considered private, like if you look like at a dentist or whatever. But I mean, there's other fields, specialties. I guess you can get like some private care or whatnot. Um, but it's, I mean, for surgeries especially, there's not really a private sector for that, from what I know of, anyways, anywhere in Canada. So you've got these waiting lists of extremely important surgeries, life or death, pretty much, and there's these waiting lists that, and I've read articles about that. Something that should be done within a period of 8 months. Sometimes it goes on for, there's a waiting list for 2-3 years type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really insane. Some people, I don't know enough about the situation to propose anything, but I did have this discussion with my girlfriend, and she actually talked about it with some doctors in hospital. I think one of the problems, especially when it comes to doctors and all that, is that they have like a very large amount of time and money needed for their education. And a lot of it is because even if you want to specialize in a certain field, you have to do like multiple years and invest multiple large amounts of money for your education, and just in being a general practitioner. And then you have to specialize into something, which is a huge amount of time. And I think that if doctors that want to know right off the bat where they want to specialize in were able to focus on that and cut through the fat, if you will, there would be, there would be a lot more doctors available. But it doesn't even really matter if you have the governments cutting more and more into healthcare across the country. There won't be any doctors hired in any case. So I don't know. It's looking. We might have to have a two-tier system, a public one and a private one. Some people say that could be even more disastrous, but who knows? I don't know. But it seems like healthcare is a major issue no matter where you go on this planet. It's a very expensive and artificially expensive in a lot of cases.
But weren't you also saying earlier that like you can't even, like, doctors aren't even allowed to tell people that like diet and exercise, it needs to be part of their regimen anymore because it's considered.
Well, I think they've scrapped that. Yeah, my girlfriend was telling me that they were thinking there were some changes being introduced, and I think some of them were propositions where doctors, are not even allowed, like under a certain proposition if it went through, and I think it didn't go through because a lot of doctors revolted against that. But yeah, doctors weren't allowed to, wouldn't have been allowed to mention diet and exercise to as a lifestyle change to overweight patients or to any patient like me, because obviously this would be reserved to the most unhealthy patients that usually would be overweight. So
body shaming.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm.
I couldn't believe it, but no, actually, in this world, in this day and age, in the last few years, I could believe it, but I was still, I was still amazed of how far this
movement has gone.
Leftist poison has been going.
Yeah, it's crept into so much popular culture now.
Yeah.
Like, be it, Star Wars, even the Avengers, the new Ghostbusters movies. It's all over. But on the note of the Star Wars, have you seen the new The Mandalorian, John?
Not yet. I've seen reviews. I'm actually surprised. It seems to be unanimously praised, which I'm surprised considering how the Star Wars. I'm not a huge fan myself of like the. I mean, I've seen some of the movies, and I don't hate the franchise or anything, but I'm not into it like a lot of people are.
So
Um,
let me put it to this way. So you're like the original trilogy sort of fan, right?
yeah, kind of like I remember parts of it. I like the. I know it's not the most popular. I haven't seen any of the new ones since like 2015. The prequels that they did in the late 90s, early 2000s. The first two ones are kind of vague to me. But the last one in the prequels, which would be the third one, where Anakin turns into Darth Vader, I saw it a few times and I always found it fairly enjoyable. You know, there's some cool fights, and it's kind of cool seeing
Excuse me.
the promised Jedi turn into Sith Lord and all that. So yeah, I would say the most memorable one to me was that last one. But like I said, I'm not like some huge fan. Like when the new ones came out, anyone that was like even a moderate fan of Star Wars, like were so hyped about it. I haven't even seen it, and from what I've heard ever since that first one came out, it's just like all kind like a rehash, but reframed in a very left wing, leftist, feminist framework. I was like, yeah, I'm not interested.
Yeah, like I actually found The Mandalorian quite refreshing
Yeah,
in comparison to the new like Force Awakens and The Last Jedi. I didn't like The Last Jedi, and most people didn't like The Last Jedi.
yeah,
Um, but Disney's basically taken over the franchise. They've they've made The Mandalorian. It's now canon
hmm
to the new Star Wars universe. But yeah, like you just now you see the Baby Yoda meme. It's basically broke the internet in the last few weeks.
yeah.
Uh,
I think I've seen it a couple times. I didn't know it broke the internet until you mentioned that to me. But yeah, it seems people are losing their mind over Baby Yoda.
Baby Yoda, like that'll be the number one selling toy for next year at Christmas probably.
Yeah, probably. Yeah,
I could see like Baby Yoda bobbleheads and like there's
yeah, yeah,
good franchising opportunity there. I think.
yeah, for sure. Or licensing the rights to it, make some toys. Yeah, for definitely. If you're an Amazon seller, definitely look into acquiring some Baby Yodas.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I haven't seen The Mandalorian yet. I am interested in seeing it. It seems like they're not too. I think Disney has gotten hit pretty hard with. It's like they're starting to realize that if you go too woke, you get broke, right? You go
Yeah.
broke.
If you get, I'm gonna put that on a T-shirt. That'll be our new T-shirt. If you get too woke, you're gonna get broke. I like it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, so yeah, I didn't know it was that big of a meme, but I'm not surprised. I mean, it'll probably be the next big meme for the next 2 3 weeks, just like that cat was. Like, have you seen that white cat with the Desperate Housewives?
I don't think so.
No, I've seen it all over the place for the last 2 3 weeks. All kinds of memes. So you see like these crying Desperate Housewives from the show there, and then you have this cat, like this white cat looking angry, uh, and there's whatever people are just writing uh, different stuff, like a comic book, right? The Desperate Housewives say something, and the cat replies back. Well, there's some funny ones out there.
Yeah, well, I think that's why I like The Mandalorian, because it's kind of feels like you're watching a graphic novel,
Mm-hmm.
and even the storyboards that go along with the show, like it looks like you're watching and reading a graphic novel. I think that's the for me that's personally the appeal.
Yeah.
You're kind of watching a graphic novel unfold in real time, and they're not very long episodes. They're like 35 minutes,
Okay.
so they're not like an hour long or anything like that. So
Yeah.
they tend to pack a lot of action into a short amount of time.
Yeah.
Um, and if you're familiar with the Star Wars, the Mandalorians are like one of the most revered warriors in the galaxy.
Do they have the Force or whatever?
No, the Mandalorians aren't Force users. I'm sure there are some Force sensitive people within their culture, but
Okay.
they're more like a warrior. Like I would think of them kind of like the Spartans of Star Wars.
Okay. Gotcha.
They train from a really young age to be warriors. Like family and clan is really important to them. And,
Mm-hmm.
they wear armor and they shoot pistols. Um, I think there were a few Mandalorian Jedi, but it's not their main characteristic.
Yeah. Yeah. Gotcha. Gotcha.
So
Cool, man. And yeah, suppose I haven't heard like that they're like pushing some obvious agenda underneath, political or otherwise. Underneath, it's just pretty much good storytelling within that universe, right?
yeah, it's actually written and directed by John Favreau
Okay.
of Iron Man. So written and directed Iron Man. So he's
Oh, okay. Cool.
yeah. So he's like I said. I think like I said, it's just good storytelling, and it's enjoyable to watch. And
Nice.
it's not too long. It's not gonna you could finish the latest 5 episodes in a day if you wanted to.
Yeah. Yeah. I actually did that with One Punch Man. I rewatched season one and watched season two uh, during the weekend. Man, I love that show. Never heard of it.
No, I've watched One Punch Man,
Oh, okay, excellent. The season two is
I,
great too.
but I'm not really the biggest anime type person. So
Yeah, yeah, I know. I am. I'm
I
glad my girlfriend is too. I'm not like an anime nerd, but I do enjoy like a good violent anime from time to time. When I get into one I like, I can't stop. So yeah. So yeah, and yeah, I gotta watch Silicon Valley. I can't believe it's the end of the show, man. That's
oh,
that's a great show. But anyways, yeah, we don't need to expand on all my uh, disposable entertainment I've been watching lately. So I think there's bigger fish to fry, just like what's going on in France, man.
yeah,
God damn.
I was just going to mention that the France riots or
Yeah, well, I mean, it's pretty much like a weekly occurrence, like protests and riots almost every week. Schools shutting down, public transportation is basically at a standstill. Hospital workers on strike, and it's like France's infrastructure has basically been shut down because Macron or whatever decided that it was a good idea to tax the middle class and the poor uh, exorbitant amounts of already high cost of living. Supposedly, France has an extremely high cost of living, and that tax on gas was making it. It was like the straw that broke the camel's back there, and people had enough. It's like this under the guise of climate change and all that all that good stuff. We're going to tax the the lifeblood of your average French person down there, and the population had enough. And like this yellow vest movement it goes way beyond like political parties. There's people in the yellow vests that are on both sides, from the left to the right. The people are really seeing this as like the elite picking on the little guy. And I mean, I tend to agree. I mean, this CO2 tax seems more like a way for the government to make some money than actually caring about the environment. I mean, there's been some pretty good studies out there saying that even if we reduce every single carbon footprint to zero, meaning that we got rid of all technologies and vehicles and all that would produce CO2. Over like the course of 50 years, it would be like something less than 0.5% decrease.
Yeah, so
of what it is now, right?
It'd be a negligible effect in comparison to, natural occurring things like volcanoes.
Yeah.
And we've as human beings, we're a blip in a cosmic and geological timescale of the Earth.
Yes.
So it's very difficult for us, in 50 to 100 years, let's say 150 years of industrialization.
Yeah.
How much impact is that in comparison to over 10,000 years or more of climate change? That's when we exited the last ice age.
Exactly.
Right. So.
Exactly. There's been extreme prolonged times of extreme weather on the planet for like forever on this planet. I mean, this planet has gone through extremes time and time again, and maybe eventually, like, I'm not saying that we can't be careful. Like, especially, I think pollution is more danger. Like the poisoning of rivers and the air is more a danger than the actual climate, the global warming crisis.
Right, like dumping heavy metals into watersheds and polluting water tables that people are drinking from. Yeah, exactly. I think that's way more of an issue than a few degrees of climate change.
Exactly.
On a global scale. I mean, ultimately, people who live on the coast or coastal areas, they're going to have issues eventually with rising water levels and things like that, and also areas that have deserts or drought are already drought prone.
Yeah.
But I don't think necessarily pinpointing it to human caused activity, be it carbon dioxide emissions, is the sole culprit for climate change.
I agree.
A small percentage, but I don't think it's the bulk of what we're doing in the last 150 years.
Yeah.
We like I said, we don't live long enough time scales in order to see the cycles and patterns of the Earth.
Yeah, I agree. And I do know that there's been people trying to organize debates with people from both sides, and the climate change activists, be it, and these people want to get like the experts, not like just some Joe Schmo or anyone. But the people on the alarmist side tend to always refuse. There's actually been some debates organized, and they refuse to show up. So it's just basically a one-sided argument, and no one. There's not like any real conversation about professional people, scientific people that actually know what they're talking about. So it's almost like. It's a two-sided argument between ignorant people. Oh, So it's ridiculous. I mean, this is serious because if it were a real crisis, I mean, we should have a logical conversation about this in the public space. But no, it seems to be fear tactics and fear mongering across the board. And on the other side, it's like complete denial. So I think it's probably something in between. We're probably causing a certain impact, but how bad is the impact, to what degree, and what are the real consequences about it, I think are being grossly exaggerated or misrepresented here. You've got like prominent politicians like Ocasio-Cortez saying that we have 12 years to live unless we do something drastic, like cut all transportation and planes and factories and all that. We got 12. It's completely ridiculous. I mean, even if there was like this tremendous apocalypse and you wiped out 99% of the world population, that's still millions of people left alive on the earth. That's if like 99.9% of the population was destroyed, was eliminated. I'm not saying we should get to that point either, but exaggerating these things and then implementing laws and regulations that are making the population suffer to a degree that is creating civil unrest and freezing the wheels of societies, like in France, for instance, it's definitely not the way to go. If you have a society that is, prospering and coming up with new ideas, well, you'll have people that can actually make a real difference when it comes to the environment. And it's not like any one government is like, no one government is competent enough to take care of climate change.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely not.
Yeah, I mean, any government, like if you go to socialism, that's tried to like run an economy, for instance, they say, oh, we know what to do with the money, so no privatization anymore. We'll take care of everything. We'll have a centralized economic center, which is the government, and which will take care of everything. It's been proven time and time again, will always lead a country into pretty much bankruptcy.
Yeah. Well, we've seen that happen with Russia and other different regimes,
Yeah. So, I mean, if no one government in the world can take care of something like a market, which is very human in nature, how the fuck do you want a government to tackle something as big, to be like the sole controller of something as big as climate change and as complex as climate change?
Well,
which is a human.
Well,
go ahead.
It's a multifaceted issue. There's aspects of, human cause, environmental cause, where we are in our cycle around the sun. It's more likely to be solved by technological innovation than it is by policy, to be honest.
Yes.
As we transition to electric vehicles, and as battery technology is getting better and better, as we talked about with the Cybertruck, even though that was kind of a joke, the battery range on that truck is 500 miles.
Yeah.
So, you're looking at almost 700 kilometer range now on these batteries.
Yeah.
Even 10 years ago, that wasn't possible.
Yeah.
That wasn't solved by policy. That was solved by an entrepreneur with an idea to make people's lives better or to solve an existing problem.
Free market.
Yeah. Through innovation and technology.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of socialists argue that, well, if you look at all the some of the greatest inventions or the most impactful inventions, like the internet, for instance, these were government funded um, technologies, and that might be true, but
Well, Tesla did get a loan, and it's the only company out of the big manufacturers for automakers that paid it back. It's the only
Mhm.
GMC didn't pay it back, Ford didn't pay it back.
I didn't know that.
None of the Tesla's the only company that actually paid back their loan with interest.
Yeah, well, didn't know that.
So,
Well, the point is yes, government can develop some pretty crazy technology, but the develop like the internet was for military use. It was to store data and protect data. Um, do you think we'd have the uh, infrastructure we have today with all the things we can do today if there wasn't like private enterprise and entrepreneurs developing ideas on this platform? Like the socialists that I heard talking about it, I think it was a professor. I can't remember all the details, like what university and what his name was, but he was saying that private enterprise is bullshit, and something a communist or socialist government would be able to have as much innovation and creativity as the free market, somewhat free markets we have today. And I'm like, wow. I'm sure we'd have Google and all that stuff if only the government was allowed to create stuff on the internet. I'm sure we'd have all these incredible tools in every single industry and area uh, with the government with only the government working on this stuff. So I don't know. I just feel as a whole that not not only for climate change or anything like that, any political tendency to rely on the government to take care of everyone is a foolhardy idea.
well, it's short sighted because election cycles are 4 to 5 years. Right?
Yeah,
They don't they base their platforms on popularity, not what's best for long term prosperity for the average citizen of their country or the world, right?
yeah,
So like
yeah,
right now, the most leveling influence in the world we have is the internet because it's democratized information. If you want to learn
yeah,
something or have access to something, it's available 24/7, 365. You don't have to go to an institution or a university anymore. As long as you have a reliable internet connection and have half a brain in your head, you can pretty much learn any sort of skill or find information.
hmm,
Now, information is highly controlled by different well, whether it be media outlets or government. So just be very discerning in the things that you listen to and watch and read, um, and take everything with a grain of salt, and don't just because climate change is bad, not necessarily is it's not necessarily the truth. It's a much
hmm,
issue than just saying, oh, humans caused this. Well, look at non sponsored information, where someone's not getting a stake in having the results turn out a certain way through their study, you know,
yeah.
and look at more than one source of information, you know.
Yeah, I try to look at both sides of any debate here. That's for sure. I don't think, especially in this day and age, you really don't have a choice to. You can't. You really can't be sure of anything in this day and age. I mean, science keeps evolving, and turning old truths upside down. Uh, the food industry, like diet is a perfect example of that. We've already talked about this before, but what's good for you yesterday is no good today. You look at eggs, one of the best foods and one of the worst foods and one of the best foods again, etc. And I mean, you could almost apply that to almost every food or food component. So,
What if I want to get a slice of bacon from the pig monkey hybrid they're making?
yeah,
I want
that
I want a side of pig monkey bacon for my bacon and eggs.
definitely a crazy story coming out of China. So the little information I have is that they've were able to cross the DNA of a pig and a monkey to see if it's possible to have, for instance, in the future, cross DNA of a human with other animals, so we can harvest organs. And I have no idea what a monkey pig bacon would taste like. But I'm sure, I'm sure if this technology becomes common, we'll sure find out one day. Some entrepreneur will, especially the Chinese. I don't want to generalize here, but they do tend to like pretty much anything that's non-human. They don't mind eating, right? So who knows? There might be chicken turkey a la pig hybrids out there just for food. I don't know.
Well, I mean, we live in a society like we have genetically modified organized organisms all the time. Their things are bred to be fatter, bigger, more muscular. It doesn't surprise me that a country like China, which has more relaxed regulations when it comes to that sort of enterprise, because you wouldn't see this story coming out of the United States. I don't think it would happen.
No, well, this is not the first hybrid we've heard coming out of China. However, there's rumors of now like human hybrids, human and animal hybrids coming out of China. Like the last one is chimp mixed with human. Be it true or not, it's like you said. When there is like some confirmed pig humans or whatever, it's almost definitely going to be out of China before it comes out of the U.S. Because like you've seen that show, right? The Unnatural Selection on Netflix.
I think I did a long time ago.
Yeah, you're the one that mentioned it to me like 2 months ago.
That's right.
I actually watched it. People like starting, they're playing with their genes inside their garages and stuff, right?
Oh yeah, sure, yeah.
Yeah, and the U.S. is already like FBI is getting involved and all that. There's a lot of people that are trying to regulate this as much as possible to make it as hard as possible. And I mean, there's definitely good points to be made of doing that. Even though like people are starting to realize I'm always on. I tend to lean more on deregulation than regulation from the government. But I mean, yeah, we're messing with genomes here in animals, insects, and humanity. So I mean, there can be like some pretty damn crazy consequences down the line if we're not careful with this. But China, I mean, if there ever is some human hybrids with other animal crosses, it's definitely going to come out of China, in my opinion.
Well, I'm looking I'm looking forward to some pig monkey bacon in the future.
And like in Seinfeld, if there are some pigmen out there, we wouldn't look too bad, right? You
Mm,
remember that Seinfeld quote?
no, it's not. It's not. I can't recall off the top of
No.
my head. No, it's been a while.
Oh, okay. George Costanza. They're having a conversation about pigmen, and George Costanza was like, I would love to have pigmen around. A few pigmen running around. All of a sudden, I don't look that bad.
Yeah. Okay. I see it.
Yeah, yeah. Man, this is almost like we're getting to this cyberpunk reality, man. Like,
Yeah.
hard using it's uh, the mix of AI all these different sciences and industries come together and merge together. This is when it's going to get crazy. When you have like artificial intelligent design DNA structures implemented in biotechnology into humans, mixed with cybernetics and all that good stuff to put together. I mean, it's gonna create possibilities we can't even dream of.
Well, we're on the cusp or a tipping point. Like I said, we said before, it'll either be a benevolent uh, future with possibilities or some sort of apocalyptic version of the Terminator. We're not sure which way it's going to go yet.
Yeah, I mean, I think the options are even way beyond that.
But yeah, that's true.
Like AI could be like some farming AI, but like it's not even like a Terminator situation. It's just like, I don't know, some AI that's designed to optimize crops that all of a sudden says maybe the best way to optimize crops is to eliminate or confine humans, and the AI just goes crazy in that way. It like has no like ill intent or anything like that, but um, I mean, AI can go wrong in so many ways. Isaac Asimov has like some pretty good short stories about like his robot series. How like they have all these safeguards to protect, to make sure that robots and computers don't turn against humans, but regardless, there's always like these situations that can create like uh, a internal conflict within them that will force them to, make decisions against their programming, or it actually goes with their programming. It's just the intended effect is not beneficial to humans, right?
Right.
So uh, it can be, it could be as simple as like say a medical AI saying what's the best way to eliminate cancer. Well, maybe eliminating humans would be the best way to eliminate cancer. You know what I mean?
Well, that's right, because humans are the only, well, I guess other animals, but uh,
Yeah, but
organic
how to eliminate cancer in humans, right?
yeah, organic life is the only thing that gets cancer. Because
Yeah.
cancers are cells that have their cellular reproduction basically hijacked to replicate to the point where it starts attacking the rest of your body.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, you're right. So if an AI was in that situation, it'd be like, okay, well, we don't want cancer anymore, so just get rid of all organic life.
Yeah, exactly. And so that's like some of the ways AI could horribly go wrong. Not like the I'm aware and so I need to protect myself from humans type of situation. I mean, there's a whole host of possibilities that are not too bright for human beings when it comes to that. But it's not only like Ray Kurzweil calls this point in time the singularity, which is we're gonna come to a point, and he predicts it in the 2050s. We're gonna come to a point of technological advancement where all these different um, fields are going to converge together, and the possibilities are so endless and unpredictable that there's no way of being able to realistically predict what's coming up next after that point in time, right? So, I mean, what happens if we were able to start like downloading consciousness into an AI, merge with an AI, and then like being able to exchange information at a rate? Like, imagine like every person, be it with biochips or virtual reality consciousness or whatever, can turn a normal human being with an IQ of, let's say 100, and every human being now can have like the equivalent of an IQ of like 500 to 1,000, right? I mean, that's a completely different world. I mean, if every normal human being can have an intellect higher than Einstein, I mean, what kind of world could we create? And the thing is like probably only a few people in the beginning are going to have access to that type of power, right?
Well,
If you be it like immortality, or be it AIs or whatever, that you look at Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos or the people at Google, they have access, they have so much power compared to even politicians today, right? So
their money is power, and like vice versa,
yeah, their money is power, but also the technologies they have at their disposal, their information, the data they have is power. Even if you put the money aside, I mean, money is already like one of the greatest power a human being can have on the planet. But imagine when you couple that with other like information, you could say is one of the greatest powers a human being can have. If you have information on everyone, CIA is not, or NSA or whatever, some of the most powerful organizations in the world. They do have money, but their main power, if you will, is information.
Right? Yeah, their currency is information. They're in the intelligence business, or
exactly.
But does that power, as a question, does that power corrupt you just by the nature of having the power?
Yeah, exactly. Does power automatically corrupt? That's I don't know. It's a question I've been muddling in my head for, I guess from time to time throughout my years. I guess it's been back on my mind lately for whatever reason, but I guess like I would like to say no, that it doesn't automatically corrupt, but it definitely, like we discussed earlier before being on air, it definitely amplifies whatever tendencies you might have, right? If you are, if you're like 80% cool and 20% an asshole in your life, that 20% is going to have a lot more, that 20% asshole in you is definitely going to have a lot more impact and freedom to do what it wants than if you were just like Joe the plumber down the street, right?
Right. Yeah. Well, that's what I've always said, right? If you were to put money in someone's hands who's already not such a nice person, power in someone's hands who's not just a nice person to begin with, it will tend to amplify whatever characteristics or personality traits you already have. I mean, Google used to have a policy of like, don't be evil.
Yeah.
But now, like, there's a whole culture shift at Google. Like the main two founders, Larry Page and Sergey, both stepped down. The original founder of Apple's Steve Jobs is not there anymore. So we're living still in a world mostly controlled by corporations. just because, like you said, they have access to the information, to the things you buy, you're purchasing, and you're basically your marketing profile. And
Yeah. And plus, they have the means to cut out any competition.
but is that monopoly and power ultimately corrupting a free market or people's ability to operate in a free market?
Well, I mean, some people would argue that power corrupts
Absolutely.
always, right? So so if you were to get enough power in your life, even just as an individual, it would ultimately corrupt you. It would ultimately, and I guess, as a hopeful, I don't think that it's 100% the case, but it definitely presents some temptations to indulge in the darker aspects of your personality. But it definitely can and facilitate corruption. But I don't think it ultimately it's an automatic thing for sure. But I mean, it's just, I think in the end it's a question of potentiality. Something, if you have the ability to corrupt, or if you have the ability to indulge in the lesser aspects of yourself, then the odds of it happening are obviously going to go up, right? But I mean, no one's going to be a perfect angel no matter what, right? I guess it just goes back. I don't really have a clear cut answer for myself or anyone. I'm just kind of like juggling the ideas out loud in my head right now, just on air here. But I'd like to think that, yeah, power can be used responsibly, and it doesn't necessarily always corrupt people. But no, human beings are, we're flawed creatures. So these flaws are always going to manifest themselves, no matter what system we're in, no matter what type of dynamic. There's always going to be like some imperfections and deficiencies within our nature that are going to sprout out somewhere, right? And people always tend to think that we need to change these systems continuously to eradicate those deficiencies, but people think that the systems are the causes, when, in my opinion, these systems are just reflections of our profound nature.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this question: do you think Baby Yoda is corrupted by power?
Oh, hell yeah!
But he's too cute.
They're the worst ones.
The cute ones, yeah, gotta beware of the cute ones. The cute ones.
Oh yeah, man. No one suspects the butterfly, man.
No one suspects the butterfly.
Yeah. But they create tornadoes on the other side of the world, man.
Mm-hmm. Just by flapping their wings.
Yeah. So, yeah, well, I have no idea. Yoda is too much of an iconic character, so it'd be cool though. Baby Yoda grows up to go on the dark side. And the ghost of Yoda just gives him a spanking.
That'd be funny.
Yeah, I guess so. So yeah, I have no idea about Baby Yoda, but where did you see it? Actually, we got Amazon TV recently. Is it on? No, it's on the Disney network. Yeah,
it's on Disney Plus.
Yeah, did you get that?
Well, through my Amazon Prime, I took a week-long trial.
Oh, okay.
Gotcha. I think I'm gonna keep it.
And how much is Disney Plus?
It's $8.99 a month.
Oh wow, super cheap. Thank you, Netflix, man. You really revolutionized the
Subscription television service.
well, television as a whole, and I mean, cable sucks so bad. I haven't even before I got Netflix. I hadn't been watching cable in a long time when you could just download it. I don't download anymore; I just stream. But wow, I mean, we've kept cable, basic cable for like, especially for my girlfriend. She likes watching the news and sports and stuff like that.
Nah.
Sometimes, yeah, but sometimes a show will come on or a good movie, and we'll start watching it, and then it's like ad after ad, and I'm like, no, we're not. Plus, a lot of times, like on these normal cable, like say there is a good movie or a good show, a lot of it is censored. So, I mean, besides like channels like AMC, HBO, Showtime, yeah, exactly.
Bad boys, what you gonna do?
No, it ain't that. Wow, it's Bill's. Bill's Trucking is calling me.
Oh, really? That's serendipitous.
Yes.
I have no affiliation with Bill's Trucking, just FYI.
All right. Probably a spam call. Who knows? I just got a from the agents, the investigative agency of Canada, of Revenue Canada, called me earlier. I love fucking with them. To all our listeners, if you get like these scam calls, just call them back and pretend to be a police officer doing an investigation. And my tip is to pretend you're on their side at first, to say, "Oh, I'm sure everything is in order," and just start asking them questions and hear them sweat on the other end. It's very satisfying.
This is Inspector Lemieux from the investigative arms of cybercrime for the RCMP.
Exactly. Yeah.
Where your business located?
Oh, it was actually, they were fronting as Revenue Canada, and in the last 2 years, I've been getting a lot of those calls. So a lot of times it'll be like a robocall or something like that, and so what I do is I'd be like, I present myself, I'm as a RCMP officer, and then already they're, you can sense it in their voice, they're getting stressed. But then, I'll be like, don't worry, I think we just got some complaints. I'm sure everything is in order. You guys are legitimate and all that. I just have a few questions to make sure and all that. So then you start asking questions that you obviously know they can't really answer, and they start sweating. And then you ask to talk with their boss, and you want to take down their employee number and all that, and then they just start. A lot of them will just hang up on you. They'll get mad and hang up on you, or they'll start panicking and hang up on you. A lot of times they're going to try to play the game, and then and then they'll try to weasel out with a lie. But it's funny. It's funny to watch them sweat. But I think the best, I know a guy I know from down east. He was getting a lot of emails from like a email scam or whatever. Started talking with this girl, like a prince, or I can't remember all the details, but he pretended to have fallen in love, hook, line, and sinker. But he's like, he said something like he had friends that got ripped off before, but he really trusts in her and all that. But he would need like a proof or something. So send him like $150 to prove that what she's saying is real. I think it was like a kind of scam, like, I want to marry you, I have all this money and all that, but they needed like 10 grand or some shit like that. So he managed to actually extract money from the scammers, which was, I found pretty cool.
You kind of flip the tables, right? Just like on Seinfeld.
Yeah, you got to do that.
Flip the tables. Take a positive, negative, turn it into a positive.
Exactly. So Yeah, I think we've covered everything we wanted to talk about.
Yep. Anything you want to add, John?
No, I'm good. I added how to deal with scammers.
All right.
I think that was a welcome addition.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
As always, we're on the social media platforms: Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Feel free to message us.
Mm-hmm.
Any topics you're interested in discussing, or if you want to be on the podcast, feel free to send us a message.
Yeah. I second the motion.
All right. So this is Bill Ate.
And John Wynn, we will be signing out, and until next time.
Peace.
Peace.